Okay, everyone, welcome back. This is Dave, also known as Loving Them Trains, and we're back with a project I have on the layout. What you see in front of you is part of a building that I scratch built from a Walther's kit, actually. They don't do much with O scale these days, but they did sell some of their molds over to Atlas. So this building was relatively easy to put together as a kit, but when kit bashing, you got to do some modifications. Um, what you see in front of you now is my weathering job. The name of the company is TEG and Atlantic Fruit Packing Company, and it's to service some hoppers I have, as well as for some tank cars, those types of things. Try to have industry or places around the layout that actually go with the cars, the rolling stock that you have. So I also, with this building, with the windows, I went ahead and colored them in like you see in some older warehouses and factories. The fire escape was actually completely on there, but in moving this thing around, it came off. So I left it off, and I'm going to leave it off until everything's in place because those things are really fragile anyway. But I did weather those and kind of rust them up a little bit rusted them up. And also you can see on the far left where I've put a sign Del Monte, and kind of roughed it up as well, and see Tropican on the right. If you're wondering what the TEG is standing for, that is my mother's initials. And unless she's watching this video, she won't know this till I actually bring her up for a visit. So I've got a lot of work to do at the top. Matter of fact, let me take you up to the top. The building is actually not completely together. I'm not going to solidify it until I do the interior. And the reason I want to do some interior with it is because it is going to be towards the front of the layout. And when lit, yes, I am going to light it up, you can kind of see inside. So I'm going to try not to go crazy, but for those curious people that look to see if there's interior, there will be something, there will be activity. But let me move the camera just so you can see what's going on with the shape of the building. All right, here's an aerial view of the building. And as I told you, it has a different kind of shape, more of like a trapezoid. As you can see on the front, it's straight. That's the right side for you, and on the left it's kind of at an angle, and that's to accommodate a road that's coming down at an angle behind it. So that was the reason I had to do it. Of course, it would have been easier to do all 90-degree angles, but what character would that have? Also, if you look at the top of the roof, there are pieces missing towards some sections where you can come to the roof. The workers can come up to the roof for maintenance, and some chimneys that'll all be put in towards the end. I also had to fabricate the roof, which is out of foam core. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep that as the roof or I'm going to use some kind of plastic like styrene, but right now that's what's in place. And you can also see the back left corner is not completely together. That was a piece on the back left side that I had to fabricate out of foam core, and I just put some of this brick paper on the back, which is fine. It's in the back of the layout anyway. So that's kind of where we're at. Little detail here on the side with the meters and all of that. So got a good start on this, but there's still so much more to do. And then, of course, once the building is complete, I'll have to do the scenery around it. So there is so much to do with this building and this area. I need to shut this camera down and get back to work, and I will be back with more progress. So the first thing I'm going to start with is this rooftop HVAC system by Rail Scale Models. And so this will probably be one of the most striking features on top of the rooftop. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with this and see if I can do it some justice. I said I was going to work to get the details to the roof going, which I am in the process of doing. But of course, I can't be simple. I have to make life harder. So what I've done, as you see in front of you, there are 3 pieces of styrene that I've cut, and the top piece is actually the roof. I was not going to use the foam because, as I told you earlier, the foam does warp. So I've cut up the styrene for the roof, but also for 2 floors. So that means I have to detail 2 floors. And the reason I decided to do that, number one, this structure is kind of on the edge of the layout. And, you know, I'm sure when visitors come, they're going to probably take a look inside and see if I've done anything in there. So I guess when it's all said and done, I will have. I don't know how far I'm going to detail it. Probably not a lot, because the windows to this particular building are actually kind of fogged up. I've actually painted them, but there are some places where you can see inside. So, and then the lighting will also add to being able, the visibility of what's inside. So I'm going to go ahead and I guess go all out on this. So the next thing with this is to go ahead and paint these, and then I can begin detailing and getting this set. Now, the one other thing is, once this building is together, it's going to be very difficult to go back inside. But, you know, anything is possible, but I'm going to try, hopefully, to not have to do that. I will probably, depending on the lighting I put in, may have to address those issues as time passes, but the goal is to not have to mess with it once everything is together. So we'll see how that goes. So in the meantime, let me quit babbling and go ahead and get this painted up, and then start detailing and putting equipment inside as well as people. All right. Okay, so one thing I decided to do, because I tried to put the flooring in, which is nothing more than a long piece of 60 thou styrene, which is very flimsy, especially at that particular length. So I decided to create this bracing, which I should have known I had to do in the first place. So I did that, and as I was doing it, I realized it's going to serve 2 purposes. One, it's going to help the flooring to not bend or warp, and then secondly, it's going to strengthen the integrity of the entire building. So you have a win-win situation. I wanted to show you all this before I actually put the floor, second floor on. All right, let me get back to work. While I have the building apart, this is the back side of the building where you won't see it. It's going to be facing the back of the layout, and there will be a road that will pass beside it. But I wanted to show you how I had to fabricate a wall. So over on the left, you can see the noticeable difference with the brickwork. That is brick paper that I added on foam core to extend that wall, which was needed. I didn't want to get a whole nother kit just to fabricate that one wall, so I just made it. Plus, like I said, it's not going to be where you can see it from viewing angle. but it does the job. And no windows there. Once again, I didn't want to do all that when you're not going to see this side. But for some reason, I want to go ahead and try to weather it a little bit. I don't know if that'll help, but I'm just gonna kind of see what that looks like, because I'm sure in the future I'll use this paper and it'll probably be more visible, and I want to see what kind of effect I can get. So I'll take a sheet or a section that I'm not using right now and just see how it works out to do some weathering on it. And if it looks decent, I'll go ahead and put it on here. But I just wanted you to see that section. I think I did a pretty good job of connecting it, but I do see some areas from the back that I want to go ahead and put some putty in, just so no light shines through at all. So yeah, back to work. All right, so here's some of the pieces that I'm going to need for the inside and outside of the fruit warehouse. So on the left, you see a conveyor system that's gonna obviously go inside. Yeah, like I said, I think I went all out on this. I'm not sure how much of this is gonna be seen at this point, but I'm gonna have it pretty well lit with some workers around it. This will go from the top level down to the bottom level. And of course, this is sections of the roofing, part of the building, I should say, and also the HVAC unit and various ducts and such that will go on the rooftop. And this little section here is going to be on the side of the building, which is going to go underground to the basement. So this is going to require me to cut a hole in my bench work, but I think it's going to be very effective. Even got a light down at the bottom of the steps with the door. So this will be installed once the building is in place. And then over here, you're looking at what is the roof. I did decide to go ahead and keep the foam as the roof, the foam core, and you can see I've put an LED strip on the side, on the underside of it. And I did light this up, and it's quite bright, which I think will be wonderful because, like I said, the windows on the factory are painted like some of the old factories. So this will kind of help with illuminating so you can kind of see what's inside. And then here's what will be the second floor. And this lighting will be to shine on the first level. Pretty much the same thing, but this is actually made out of styrene. And it is a mess because I've been doing a lot of work and moving it around. So I guess it doesn't matter what it looks like. You won't see the ceiling anyway. And then up under that is the actual bottom floor, which I've made to look like dirty concrete. And right now the building is in pieces, but we're going to go ahead and start trying to put this thing back together. So let me go ahead and shut it down and get back to some work here. All right, here we are looking at the roof details. I've got the roof in place, and all of the roof details that I believe are going to go on there. There's one more vent or fan that's going to go up here. I haven't put it up yet. I have to still paint it and detail it and then install it because it does spin. But you have your ducts on either side of the building, of course, dead center, or almost center. You have the HVAC unit. You have the chimneys. I think somewhere in the video earlier I said something about taking those off, but I don't know why I would have wanted to do that, but they're in place. And then, of course, on either side of the building, you have the cupolas. All of the roof details, the ducts and the HVAC unit, as well as the chimneys, none of that is secured. The chimneys and the cupolas will not be secured because to get access to the inside of the building, especially the top floor, I'll have to remove the roof at times. But I will have the HVAC unit and the ducts in place and secured. Before putting the roof on it, I thought it was going to be easy, but oh no, thought too soon. I had so many sections on the edges of the roof that were exposed, and light would have shined right up through if I would have left it. So let me see, like right here where the fire escape is, you can see that little opening. So what I did is I had to go inside and glue some strips of foam where those cracks were to stop light from coming up through when it's lit up. So I did that in a couple of places, not many. It was a pretty good fit other than those places. It just was another time consuming event and I was ready to move on. So I'm gonna go ahead and do some more detailing and get this roof presentable. And then we'll go ahead and set this thing on the layout where it's gonna go to see what it's gonna look like. So here we are back, everyone. Back with the finished product. Got tunnel vision and I just kept going and going and going. And so what are we looking at? Well, right on the front here, you see that I've reinstalled the fire escape. I also went ahead and detailed by putting a lot of vinage and growth around the building. It's kind of an aged building, so the upkeep is not very good. This building is probably in some of its last days, so the maintenance on it's not very good. Also, all of the roof details have been added. I added some piping. Also, the roof vent that I talked to you about, that's been installed, but right now it's not operational. I need to go ahead and hook that up, so that'll probably be in another video when I get that going, but it's there, it's in place. And also, if you look on the left of the building, that's another video coming up of what I'm going to do in that particular area. But let me go ahead and take you in for a closer look so you can see what shenanigans I got myself into. All right. So here's the other side of the building, the right side. So I added this parking lot, concrete parking lot, and basically cut out masonite in sections, painted it up, weathered it up, and then put it in place and added this fencing. And there's the stairwell that goes down to the lower part of the building. Vegetation around there. Got that all detailed up. Like how that turned out. So yeah, things are pretty much set and in place. So what I'm gonna do now is go ahead and light the building up and go ahead and post this video. All right, so we're back all lit up here. The lighting is pretty good, considering I got the dirty windows. However, if you remember, I did a lot of detail inside, and it's not as visible as I'd like, but considering I did get those windows all dirty, I think it came out okay. So let's go in for a closer look and see if we can see some activity and signs of life. Okay, right here we can see a little bit of activity going on. gentleman over there working in the background, and it looks like the supervisor's giving orders. That's one section. Let's go over to another window. Okay, it looks like we got some work going on in there with the custodian. You can see in the background the conveyors. And let's move over and see if we can see anything else. Here's some more of the conveyors in the second window, or the window right in the center there on the right. You can see some fruit on the conveyors. And let me go on the side. I think we got a view of something good over there as well. Right, a little bit more activity right there. Though it's darker in the back, put the lighting towards the front. And there's another look inside of the factory. The work going on. Let's see up here in this window. A little bit right there. So yeah, a little bit is showing. So if you look in, you'll see some activity. And here's a look at the side entrance to the basement. The underside of the factory, all lit up. So like how that turned out as well. So there you are, everyone. Another completed project. So I've got more to do, more work to do on the layout. I appreciate you watching, and I hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you next time.